What is good, y'all? Xeno 2.0 here, and I want to talk about something X related. I want to talk about what I'd like to see in another Xenoblade Chronicles X style game. Whether it's a port, a remaster, or a sequel, I'd like to discuss what I like to see in this game. Because there's a lot of things that the Xenoblade games have done now that I'd love to see in a Xenoblade Chronicles X style game. A lot of things that happen in Definitive Edition to Xenoblade Chronicles 3 have made the UI and just things so much easier to deal with. And I want to talk about that and what I'd like to see in a Xenoblade Chronicles X style game. Let's get right to it. Now, the first thing I'd like to see implemented into this game is definitely loadouts. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 adding these, save builds that you can do with the team have made that game so much more enjoyable for me. It actually allows you to experiment and try new things and not feel scared that, hey, maybe I won't be able to, get that build that I had before. I might forget. You can save everything, and it allows you to preset ones for challenges in the game, and you can actually name them as well. So I'd like something like that for Xenoblade Chronicles X, a game where there's just so much things, there's so many loadouts that you can do, so many gear parts you get, and weapons, and it's like, sometimes it's very hard to find these things, and it would be nice to just have a set ready for you saved. So whenever you want to switch your playstyle for whatever tyrant or mission you want to do online, you can do that with no problem. Now, one of the coolest additions in Xenoblade Chronicles X was by far the skells. The skells just allow you to explore the world in so many different ways, and I'd like to see more of that. At least some on par with the Airy skell as far as how cool it looks. I would love so much more skells in the game, and I just want a little bit more. Maybe if we get an X style that's more of a sequel, we can get whatever new skells that we see. We know there's some, data mine stuff in the files of like the samurai looking scale that was for one of the characters that we never got to see in the game, sadly. But I'd love to see just more style mechs in the game. I think that would go so hard for Xenoblade Chronicles X. And yeah, I think in an updated graphical Xenoblade game with the art style that they have now, oof, so cool. Now, this one was a little bit hard for me, as in Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, they stayed true to the original combat, where it was art palettes, and they will probably do the same if this is a Definitive Edition Xenoblade X game, right? Because they want to stay true to the OG combat. But I would like, if they were to do a sequel of Xenoblade Chronicles X, that they stick to what they did in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And hear me out. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 feels so fluid. It is by far the most fluid Xenoblade game. It is so much faster to maneuver around, and it just feels so good having that dash mechanic. Xenoblade Chronicles X does have a run, but I way more rather have a freaking dash mechanic. The only issue that I can see is that they'll be sacrificing 2 arts on each side, because Xenoblade Chronicles X has 8 arts while Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has 6 arts. So that's the only downfall I can see. But I can see, like, if an overdrive thing came back in the next Xenoblade X style game, it will be where the Ouroboros button is. Since Xenoblade Chronicles X's bonus is overdrive, so you could have that overdrive button. That's just me. Let me know how you guys feel about that one. But I think they'll probably stay true to the art palette. But like I said, I think I'd like to see the new style of Xenoblade games in this format. Oh wait, hey guys, editing Xeno 2.0 here. I just remembered, when you're in combat, you can actually go into your skell as well, but you have to press the Y button. And if we go with that style, that would actually be an art button. But when you're in combat, you actually can press the minus button, and it doesn't really do anything as far as my knowledge. So yeah, I guess they can change the button to access your skell during combat with the negative button instead of the plus button. Now, I know Xenoblade Chronicles Online has a stigma because it's actually what held the game back a lot. But I feel like if they were to port this over, they will have to bring back this system. It would actually be a missed opportunity, in my opinion, if they actually have all the tools to make a perfect Xenoblade game and have the online as a bonus for Xenoblade fans to do something after they're done playing that Xenoblade game. And there's a lot of wait time. I'm assuming that Xenoblade Chronicles X sequel or whatever they want to do could be like a filler game, until we wait for Xenoblade Chronicles 4. That's if they go that route, of course. But I think this will actually be super cool, as you can kind of get a community together. Think about the success of the Switch and actually having an online mode where you can play with your friends. I think that would be super cool for a Xenoblade game. However, I am obviously looking more forward to the single player aspect of Xenoblade Chronicles X, because that is the core of Xenoblade as a whole. I just feel like they will probably do more things with the online because it was a feature in the previous game. the X mode actually did a lot of things. Like the X Online mode actually did so much that the Nintendo Wii U didn't have, like in-game chatting. Like you were actually able to text and do so much. I'd like for you to actually just be able to hang out and maybe see people's builds a lot easier, inspect people just like you can when you're in your, you know, your squad. But it would be nice if, you know, you guys can do more missions together and not have to go to the tedious thing of, you know, having to do the task first and then go into the mission. I spoke about this in a video, but I think this would be a neat addition to add for this game. And now that the Wii U Online is shutting down soon, I think this can actually bring back a key mode and a cool mode. Also helps with reward tickets, and it just goes all around in general. Like I think it just makes the game so much more helpful for players post game. Now, this one is a little bit difficult for me. This does contain spoilers because it's going to be talking about the story of Xenoblade Chronicles X, of course. So let's talk about it. So Xenoblade Chronicles X actually ended on a cliffhanger, and they left Elma in her new state saying, you know, what is Mira? You know, what is this planet? And we don't know what is Xenoblade Chronicles X in general. We don't know if it's another one of those universes that Klaus was talking about, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Most likely is what I think they can do to just make it safe and keep it its own separate thing. I don't know if they're going to actually include X into the main canon in any sort of way. However, I feel like if they do go this route, I'd like to see DE version of it to just wrap up the story. But if they go with a sequel route, I'd like to see it be more revamped, honestly. This is the part where I only say it's difficult for me because I want the story to be retold into the original vision that they had. Right? We had the samurai guy at the end. The knight is what they call him, the Black Knight. And he actually looks very similar to how Mobius looks, because obviously they probably took inspiration from previous games and then put it in 3. Right? I think this is one of the cases where I don't even know Monolith truly remembers what they try to go for. So this is one of those deals where it's like, if we go with a DE style or remaster style or sequel style, I don't know what they're going to do. But I'd much rather them restart the story and recanonize things a little bit for this story, just like how they did in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, to like kind of implement it into the main Xenoblade stuff. Or quote-unquote retcon, I guess you'll call it. It's really hard for me to truly explain this, because I'd rather see this story just completely be rechanged or revamped, because the pacing of the game can use a lot of work. And by far, they've learned so much from the newer games, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3, DE and Torna. Definitely can learn a lot from those games. And I think the way you progress in the story was just not okay for me, because they wanted you to explore. And some people just want to play through an RPG, you know. I get there was the main emphasis on this game, but it's, let's be honest, it was also because they kind of had to cover up the fact that this game was pretty short technically. So I would actually like to see them revamp the story or retcon the story a lot and change the pacing so that the game actually feels way nicer. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Use the existing concept that they had in people's, I think it's called the data mine, Xenofiles, whatever you want to call it, but X-Files, excuse me. I think it'd be so cool if they just changed the concept of a lot of things and go with the original story that they had, because you can really make a super dope sci-fi game with those concepts that Takahashi had. And I feel like it just makes for a super cool Xenoblade game. And if they go the remaster route, that's the perfect way to do it. That's why I said an X-style game. However they do it, that's pretty much what I want story-wise. I can't really explain everything easy because it's story is just all over the place, let's be honest. But that's kind of what I'd like to see, is a revamp of everything so it can make sense. It does not have to be part of the main canon. You know, the numbered games. If they want to, they could. It doesn't matter to me, right? It doesn't bother me. And if it's its own thing, awesome. We can have these, you know, spin-off Xenoblade games or these side games for Xenoblade. I think that'd be so cool. It don't gotta be the X games, but it can be Xeno something else. You get me? So yes, that's pretty much what I have to say about this story. Sorry if it was completely all over the place when it came to that discussion when it comes to the story. But that's pretty much how I feel about Xenoblade Chronicles X. It left me confused and wanting more. But yes, that's all that I would love to see in a Xenoblade Chronicles X style sequel, remaster, whatever you want to call it, style game. In the future, if it's ever done, Takahashi, please bless us with a style game like that. Even if it's not, God, it don't even have to have X on it, you know? But I would love that for this series, because I think X has so much potential, and I would love for them to just dive back and pretty much right the wrongs that they had with the game. And now it's Monolith in a whole new different ball game. Now they're like on top when it comes to RPGs. In my opinion, they've always been on top, but they're even more out there. Congrats to them. And that's pretty much what I'd like to see. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like what you see. And I'll be right back with more content for you here on the channel, man. You have a good one, y'all. Cheers.